Connections are the foundation of life, and if you want to make it better, work on your connections with other people. The ability to have meaningful conversations puts all of life's desires within your reach. Although there is more nuance to the matter, mastering the art of maintaining a conversation will equip you to triumph over the majority of life's challenges. Nobody ever showed a lot of males how to improve their dating game. If you want to escape for a second, picture each girl as a locked safe. If you can decipher the code on the small keypad located on the door of the safe, you will have access to all of the contents within. Please don't take this as a sexual illusion. A unique code is assigned to each safe since each girl is unique. The ability to strike up conversations with ladies and maintain them is like having a set of tools to solve a puzzle. We men also have a safe, but the majority of our possessions are extremely easy for women to open. They can get into practically any guy's life with very little flirting if they are physically attractive enough. Contrarily, girls are very different. It's true that girls may feel physical attraction as much as guys can. And indeed, among the world's 7.5 billion inhabitants, there are some girls who would cheerfully hook up with you if your only redeeming feature was your attractiveness. However, you'll discover that most girls want a lot more than just good looks to open the safe. I brought up the concept of social intelligence in one of my earlier game-related videos. Many men have no idea what it is. The capacity to sustain a discussion is, in fact, about 70% of social intelligence. In your 20s and 30s, this skill will be more valuable than ever before because women are pickier about the men they date and hook up with. Put simply, when you become an expert conversationalist, you've already accomplished a significant portion of your goal. Nevertheless, the groundwork must be laid before the safe can be cracked. One of the most common blunders men do while interacting with females is to respond with a single word. If someone has ever sent you a series of one-word texts, it's often a sign that they'd rather not communicate with you. Talking to someone in person is no different. Men often err by responding with a single word. The cashier may inquire as to your well-being, for instance. Just saying, "I'm fine," will likely be enough to terminate the subject. Saying, "I'm great, how are you?" is likely to keep the conversation going. Picture this. The cashier wants to know what you have planned for the rest of the day. A lot of men erroneously respond with not much or anything along those lines. Many men fail to notice that these responses utterly derail any potential discourse. Stay away from these things as much as possible. Important as well is one's mindset. When you go into a discussion with the attitude that you'd rather not talk to anyone, you'll unwittingly use every possible way to break the ice and make the other person want to stop talking to you. You might need to motivate yourself to be enthusiastic about initiating and continuing the discussion if you tend to be more reserved or introverted. Making life into a game is something I've discussed in previous videos because it's a great way to convert scary things into exciting and enjoyable adventures. I used to approach every social contact with the same mindset as leveling up a character in a video game, as cheesy as it sounds. When I was first trying to improve my social abilities, every interaction was fruitful in the end, either because it yielded tangible results or because it provided valuable insight. There will be many times when you feel like you've failed when you're working on your social skills. Nevertheless, failure is defined as not reflecting on the event to determine what went wrong, which brings us to our next crucial point. The more fluent your conversational abilities get, the more diverse your social circle will become. One thing I've learned from expanding my YouTube channel to a few million views every month is that people have a lot of different viewpoints, some of which are completely absurd. Reading the comments on any of the popular videos on our channel should have given you a clue. The main distinction between the virtual and physical worlds is the unfettered expression of opinions that characterizes the internet. Obviously, this isn't how things work in the actual world. Putting on an act and keeping one's thoughts to oneself is the norm for most individuals. Trying to hone your social skills may expose you to all sorts of people, some of whom will despise you for no apparent reason. There will be those who adore you and those who, for whatever reason, just don't feel like chatting. Many new men make the rookie mistake of striking up discussions with the wrong individuals, leading to a string of unfortunate events. One must learn to endure adversity without letting it affect them emotionally. Keep in mind that the majority of individuals still haven't gotten the hang of talking to new people, so they too will likely feel a little anxious. Just as with other things in life, discussions may be seen as a numbers game, as I mentioned in my last video. Even if you went out and spoke to 100 people today, you should expect a small number to be really interested in conversing with you, a smaller amount to be somewhat interested, and an even less percentage to be utterly enamored with your company. Please don't take it personally if you encounter people who are unfriendly, uninterested, or icy. It's just part of life. How to actually maintain a conversation is what we'll cover next. Being able to strike up a conversation and keep it going is like possessing the key to any girl's safe. In a battle to the finish, I would wager money that the person who could have a conversation would always come out on top, regardless of how attractive he was. Talking about where you are or what you are doing is a terrific approach to start a discussion. If you happen to be in the grocery store, for instance, you might observe that they are renovating a section of the establishment. Bring it up in conversation with the cashier. Always start a discussion on a light and non-personal note when you are just starting off. Someone would come across as incredibly strange and frightening if they approached someone and asked their zodiac sign. Due to its impersonal nature and constant availability of conversation starters, work is another excellent subject to bring up in social situations. Back when I worked at a gas station, conversations with coworkers mostly revolved about our jobs. Expressing enthusiasm is a surefire technique to hook any person, but particularly women. I mean a person's life's most significant thing when I say passion. There is an innate interest in some aspect of life that every single person on earth has. Skateboarding is a passion for some, while lifted trucks are a passion for others. For a lot of women, it may be their own children or something along those lines. Finding out someone's life's passion and asking them about it is a great approach to start a long conversation. Everyone loves chatting about their favorite topics, so all you have to do to get them to open up is ask more questions. That's why this works so well. Oh, your vehicle has been lifted. What was the price tag for that? What kind of kit is on it? How much time was required to install the kit? I was considering purchasing X truck and customizing it with blah, blah, blah. If you can figure out what someone cares about most in life, all you have to do is ask them questions about it, and they will likely continue to talk about it indefinitely. Finally, maintaining a conversation with girls or anyone else is essentially the same as being a detective. Basically, it's just a never-ending stream of questions and answers interspersed with anecdotes and humor. As an example, my first chat with a girl was quite basic. We just talked about our schools. My first words were, "She looks familiar," and I inquired as to her educational background. Our conversation progressed to our respective schools and the friends we shared with them. We would talk on the phone far into the night, often discussing our thoughts and feelings about the dating show Blind Date while we watched it together. Using anything as a springboard to gauge people's reactions will help you become more comfortable striking up conversations with complete strangers. This is based on a true story. Whenever I went grocery shopping, I would approach a stranger in the salsa aisle, grab a tub of hot salsa, and proceed to ask them inane questions about it. Making light of every circumstance helped me feel more comfortable, reduced my anxiety, and, in the majority of cases, led to fruitful interactions. Truthfully, no one can ever teach you what to say in a discussion because they all are so fluid. The more discussions you start having, the more you'll learn how to do it. If you're extremely reserved and introverted, it's normal for your first few encounters with new people to be uncomfortable. However, remember that every time you overcome your fear of approaching a girl or anyone else, you'll be better prepared for your next conversation. When you want to be a more social person, your brain will need to rewire itself. It's like when a baby begins to walk, he clumsily stumbles around at first, but with practice, he can become the world's fastest runner. When you've driven a car for a while, maintaining a conversation will become second nature, and the tricks you picked up from movies like these will start to make sense. It's quite similar to the scene in The Matrix, where Neo transforms into the One and perceives the world through the prism of verdant computer code. Conquering the first obstacle is always the most challenging. You need to conquer your fears and remove the enormous tree of fear that has taken root in your mind. The dread will seem insignificant and feeble in comparison once you conquer this. Only because you gave it authority over you and let it grow to that size was it able to do so. Similar to how I overcame my phobias of public speaking and other similar challenges, I trained myself to keep a conversation going. Suddenly, self-improvement became enjoyable because I made it into a game. Even if your attempt to strike up a conversation with someone doesn't go as planned, at least you'll have learned something and acquired experience. Worst case scenario, you feel a little queasy, but guess what? Every little queasy moment gets you one step closer to being a conversation master. Improving your skills in flirting is just one more thing in life that costs money. According to their logic, there is no benefit in suffering. Embracing your worries and replacing them with confidence is the only question that remains. I promise you that someone else already has all the love, money, and power that you could ever desire in this world. Being a master conversationalist is the surest way to achieve your goals. If you put in the time and effort, you can crack anyone safe and realize your greatest ambitions if you follow these steps. Thank you for tuning in, and until we meet again.